Hello and welcome back to Rocking with the Robins. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you guys, but then again, we have so many new faces and so many new people that have come to follow along on my motherhood journey. So I am grateful for all of those who have come and those who are yet to meet and join our family, The Nest. If you are not subscribed to our channel and this is your first time watching a video just because you kind of want to see what this topic is going to be, then please feel free to subscribe down below. I hope that you follow our journey. This is basically our family, marriage, and fun vlog that we do with my family. We have our dog Zuri, my husband Carrie, and then we're gonna have our baby bird coming soon. So that is what this topic is about today. This is actually my first trimester update that I have been promising to you guys. I'm actually going to do that now. I'm actually further along in my pregnancy than my first trimester update, but I did keep video clips, notes that I went back and wrote of just where I was during that time based on the videos that I did for you guys. So I'll insert some of those videos along the way if they make sense, and if they work with the week that I'm on. But just wanted to get you guys started on who we are, what this is about, and get you guys excited about all that's to come on this page regarding motherhood, because that is another new area of my life that is going to be a part of this page that I'll share with you guys. So in all transparency, it's taken me a minute to get to this point because I felt like I was having mom imposter syndrome. I don't know if that's a thing, but I don't want to say I've coined it because in my brain, I don't want to label it as something, but it is taking me some time to not because I wasn't excited, not even necessarily because of the nerves. It's just because I don't know, it hadn't set in yet that I'm going to be a mom. Although I wanted this, we prayed for this, we were happy and excited for this. It just still doesn't seem real. Maybe up until about a week ago, I hadn't even bought an item for the baby. I did buy one tiny thing to do the announcement to my husband, which you will see soon. But I'm still getting there. So bear with me, but I know I am in full swing now. I definitely am starting to see the pregnancy in my body and the changes, and I have along the way in general, but it's just now getting to the point where I'm okay, I'm pregnant. I'm a mama to be. I can say I'm going to be a mama. So I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but that is one of the things that I have struggled with the most, is actually feeling like I am a part of the mom gang, not because of acceptance of anyone else, but just my own thoughts and brain about becoming a mom. But outside of that, if you have not seen our video about how I found out, I did post that already, and there are more videos coming of how we told our family, friends, etc. So we'll be posting those soon, but I thought it was a good time to kind of bring y'all up to the current day, because all of those videos were filmed previously when I was not yet telling anyone about our pregnancy. So once again, I'm excited for you guys to be here for our first trimester update. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you guys and sharing my unique symptoms and going from there. So what we're going to do as we talk about my first trimester update is I'm going to try to go week by week and give you guys an update of what I was feeling, where I was at, whether it was physical or emotional, etc. That way you can just have some insight into how I was feeling at this stage of pregnancy. If you're in a similar stage of pregnancy, please feel free to drop comments below of if anything is similar, or if you've never heard of that before, or if it's just something you find unique. Please feel free to share a comment with me, and I will definitely comment you back and just see if we can relate in this mommy gang that now I am a part of. So let's start with week 5. So week 5 is actually the week I found out I was pregnant. Now at this point in my pregnancy, I didn't know how far along I was. I had not yet been to the doctor, but now I know that I was in week 5 based on where I am dated to have my due date. So that is pretty early, I guess. I don't know if that's early or not. But what's funny about this, and if you have seen my how I found out video, you know I found out by myself unexpectedly, and I seemed very surprised. And you're like, how were you so surprised, Imani? I thought y'all were trying. I thought this is something you wanted. And the answers to all of that is yes. However, a big however is that I actually had tested about 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks prior, because Father's Day was that month. And you hear me kind of talk about this at some point in the video. If you have not, I will not give any more spoilers about the how I found out video. Anyway, I say all that to say, you hear me talk about Father's Day in that video because I found out in the month of June. So in finding out that I was pregnant, I was really surprised because I had tested not too long ago. So I don't know what urged me to take the test. Actually, I do know what urged me to take the test. What urged me to take the test is that I was actually, I was on the phone with Carrie and we were just having a conversation about, just planning this pregnancy and, just some of the stressors that come with trying to plan your family or family plan. And for me, I'm more regimented. For my husband, he was kind of just go with the flow. And so he definitely was like, I told you so at the end of this whole process, because this was actually our first try. This was our first month of trying. And I don't say that to brag, because I know there are so many women out there that have difficulty getting pregnant or just having a hard time. I do not count it as something that's just supposed to happen. So I am very grateful. The other thing about that is that another part of the testimony, and maybe we'll do a completely separate video of like all of the signs and things that I felt like we got that like let us know this was the right time for us. And maybe I'll have Carrie do that one too with me, that way you guys can see him, because I'm sure he has his own additions or inserts to add to that. But one of the things that I was super grateful for about this process is that prior to now, my cycles had not been regular. And so it was actually something that I was looking into seeking additional help and doctor's appointments for, just to like schedule everything before we started trying. However, we hit our 4-year wedding anniversary, and also Carrie and I have been together for 8 years, but we were been married for 4. And so we decided, we'll just start trying. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because like I said, he's kind of a go with the flow person. I wanted to do all my doctor's appointments and be in my optimal health. And I was working on those things and like looking at scheduling and all of that. But like I said, God had other plans, and I'm so grateful and thankful. I even, addressed it with my now OBGYN that was something I was concerned about. Is that going to affect my pregnancy? And she said, well, what we would have told you to do is try for 6 months, which is the normal thing that they tell you, honestly, in general. Try for 6 months and then come back and see us and let us know if it doesn't work out. So that's probably what they would have told us. But like I said, for me, I just know, having irregular cycles isn't necessarily normal. Like, you should be having some type of regularity with your cycle. And I'm not saying everybody's is on the same day, but we're talking about, for me, just so you can understand where I'm coming from. There are times when I would go months without a period, and I wasn't pregnant. There was, nothing going on there. It was just, sometimes I do believe that it was stress induced. The baby's moving right now, so it's freaks me out a little bit. I'm just now starting to feel her move, but that has nothing to do with first trimester, but I'm just telling y'all because I'm like giggling a little bit, and sometimes I find it funny when it surprises me. And so the other thing about that is it's not really normal. And once again, when you are trying to conceive, you need to know when you can get pregnant, so then you can get pregnant. And so that was a stressor for me because I already had this concern in the back of my mind. And I just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. But once again, I consulted with my doctor after getting pregnant. I would not recommend that. I would recommend, if you have anything going on, I'm not a medical professional, but I do think that you should, just seek out your doctors. That's what they're there for. That's what we have good jobs and have insurance for. And I did do all of my annuals and things like that, but I did not take the additional necessary steps to go do additional blood work and say, hey, this is something I'm concerned about. What can you tell me? And I should have advocated for myself more on those things, because it's been like that for me since I was about, maybe I would say like 17 years old. So even, and back then I was not, doing the do. It was something that almost seemed normal to me. But then when I'm trying to think about having a child, I'm like, is this okay? So like I said, I would definitely say if you have an experience like that, then you should definitely go see your doctor, and that's gonna be the end of that. Go see the doctor, sis. Just book the appointment and find out what's going on. And I will add this too, part of my reason why I didn't find out sooner or do more effort is because I was actually nervous about what I would find out. And so I decided, like, I'm approaching 30, or I was approaching 31, I guess at this point. I need to figure this out. Whatever it is, I've got my back. I need to know. it's time to rip the Band-Aid. And so that's where I was at. But then, like I said, we decided to start trying because we had hit our 4-year wedding anniversary, and boom, here's baby bird. So that's why you see like my gratitude and gratefulness, because I did not know what my journey to motherhood would look like. And so I am super grateful that that was not my story. That those challenges that I had, God really just placed his favor on my life to make it happen. So I am very grateful to be pregnant, and I've actually had a really great pregnancy so far, and I'm continuing to say that it will be a great pregnancy. So we found out in week 5, that's where we are, and I've caught you up to speed about kind of where my mind was even prior to pregnancy, and even just a little bit of our trying to conceive journey. So I'm in the car, I'm talking to Carrie about, yeah, babe, I don't know, I just think, I want to be regimented. I want to like make sure that everything's okay. And he's like, babe, let's just go with the flow. And I'm like, oh, fine. I won't take any more tests until the Lord himself comes down from heaven and tells me, Simani, you are pregnant. I mean, I'm being dramatic, but that's how I felt. That's what I felt like I wanted to happen in order for me to take another pregnancy test. Now, I do think what happened next may have been a sign of God saying like, take another pregnancy test. So I get off the phone with Carrie, or actually I'm on the phone with Carrie. I have been listening to a YouTube video of a YouTube family that I like. And they were talking about when they found out they were pregnant. And they just said, yeah, we had a good night out. We were just kind of taking it easy. We had moved into a new apartment and we decided to take a pregnancy test. And they were like, we had been out with friends and like having fun. And we just decided, and I said, oh, I've been out with my friends. I just had a good time with my girls. Why don't I take a pregnancy test? And it was more so my bladder was full. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And so I was like, and it was a box of 2. So the box of 2 that I had taken the other one, like I said, prior, and got a negative test back earlier in the month from Father's Day, although I actually was indeed pregnant at that time. It was just too early to tell. So I'm like, oh, I'll just take this other test, then be done with it. And then, like I said, we'll pick this up or figure things out. Honestly, I was thinking it would be the end of this year that we would kind of pick that discussion back up and go forth from there. Lo and behold, I take that test and it is positive. Now, granted, the one time I did take the other test, I believe that I did record it because I was like, oh, we had tried. Like, I think, I was really optimistic and excited about it. This is my first like real pregnancy test, like we tried, we're gonna, whatever. And let's actually go back to that statement so y'all can understand what I meant. So another thing you should know that also why I'm so grateful. Carrie and I have been married for 4 years, as I mentioned. Right when we decided to get married, I no longer was on any type of birth control or contraceptive. So that was another reason why I was concerned. And granted, we were not trying, so that plays a big factor in that as well. But I also was like, well, maybe it would have happened. Like, wouldn't it have, things like that. So those are the things that I was thinking as I was trying to conceive, and the irregularity of my period. So these are all the things that are kind of going through my mind as I'm preparing to, think about starting our family. So going into that. So going back, fast forwarding, I decided to take the pregnancy test and it is positive. And like I said, the other one that I had taken, I had recorded, I set everything up. I was like looking forward to it. And then I was kind of a little bit of a letdown when it wasn't positive, right? So I was like, I don't want to do that again. So then this one, I didn't even have I just had my phone in my hand, happened to have it with me, as I'm finishing up in the bathroom. I put the test down and like I said, I was completely shocked because before I could even get the test on the ground, I could see the other line like forming. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then I just had to wait for the control line to come in, or maybe it was vice versa. I can't remember now. But yeah, that's why I was so shocked because I had just taken a test. And 2, I did not have my camera ready. This was not like a camera ready moment. I always knew I wanted to share this journey with you guys, but that was not on the list of things that I was going to find out that day. I just thought I was finishing out the box and that me and Carrie were going to address our trying to conceive journey towards the end of 2022. It's not funny, y'all. It's just, I laugh because God is so good, right? And it just brings me joy to think about how great of an experience I've had in that even when I didn't think that things were going to go, the way I planned, which they didn't necessarily, God knew exactly what to do. So that is week 5. So finding out I'm pregnant. So as you guys know, this is a faith family. So we believe in our faith, and I talk about God here on this channel and incorporate him into my everyday life. So that's nothing new for those that have been here for a while. But one of the other things that has happened for us is that right after that, we got a little bit of a test. So right after finding out we're pregnant, and I've now told Carrie, Carrie is the only one who knew for a while, several weeks. And like I said, I'll share the journey of my family and telling them. But like I said, we waited several weeks to tell them. So it's only me and Carrie. So right after finding out, going into week 6 and 7, I get COVID. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold the phone. Tire is screeching. Let me call the main line. This is not, look, God, you done gave me this baby. Why not now? I had COVID once before, and that was at the end of last year. And I just was like, this is not the time for this. And this was after 4th of July. We didn't do anything big or anything like that. And so I was just like, what? I didn't go to any major cooking. Like, I didn't do anything fancy. We did have one small family gathering prior to 4th of July. It was actually my cousin's graduation party, and we had it here at our home. And so that was an event that we had. And actually during that week, I started to feel the fatigue of pregnancy. However, then shortly thereafter, I test positive for COVID, but the reality is that I don't know if it was the pregnancy or COVID that was giving me the fatigue. However, it was a fight. It was a battle, okay? And not in the sense of how bad I felt. I did not feel my best at all. Like, don't get me wrong. It was a cold that was kicking my butt. But I did feel like just the mental part of it for me too. Like, I just found out I'm having this great blessing. I'm only a few weeks pregnant. I have not been to the doctor. The only thing that is telling me I'm pregnant is the test. Okay. So I am still like freaking out a little bit. And I will say, in a mommy transparency moment, because I'm gonna keep it real for y'all, that that was the first time I honestly felt very connected to my baby. Because or connected to the idea of being a mother, that I was a mother now, because I literally cried when I found out I had COVID. And it was like a moment when I was by myself. But the first thing I did was call my OBGYN, even though I had not yet had my confirmation appointment. I told the doctor, hey, I tested positive for COVID, but I also just tested, and I just had set an appointment with you to come in and confirm the pregnancy. But of course I couldn't go in anyway. It just takes a certain amount of time. That is one thing they don't tell you, y'all. The confirmation appointment that you get when you go to the OBGYN, it could take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before you get on the calendar. And I found out, like I said, at week 5, I didn't know how far along I was at that point, but I didn't get my first appointment, I think, until like week 8 or 9. So it just seemed like a long time, like a month to wait. And that was any doctor I called. A month to wait for an appointment just seems so long. I'm like, why does that happen? So I don't know if anybody else experienced that. And I'm sure there's reasons why they do that. Just, your body, you need time, for it to establish and see how things are going. But it just seems so weird to me. I'm like, isn't somebody supposed to be helping me with this? Like, isn't that what you're there for? Like, why? That was me in my brain, but I don't know, if anybody else experienced that. I was like, a month? I gotta wait a month for you to tell me what the test said? Like, you're the doctor. So anyway, that's just my own passionate moment about that. But once again, I'm just telling you how I felt in the moment. So yeah, going into week 7 and 8, I had COVID, so I was at home. I was completely dialed out of work. I did not work. I could not move from the couch. Like, I could not move from the couch. And like I said, I think it was probably a combination, because that week prior, I started feeling the fatigue of pregnancy. But that week I could not move. I was, isolated and quarantined from Carrie. Thankfully, he did not get COVID when I had it. But he was very loving and very awesome partner in helping take care of me while I was sick. So during that time, I didn't really have an appetite. And I think part of that was COVID. But we'll get there. I'm gonna tell you something else about my pregnancy related things that have happened. So I did not have an appetite. I didn't want to eat. I called the doctor. I talked to them about having COVID. I asked them, you can't take, I knew you could, I know there's a lot of medications you couldn't take when you're pregnant. So I was like, let me call. So they give me the list of all the things that you can't take. And so, there's a few things you can take. They give me the list. I'm like, I'm not taking any of this. Like, I'm just gonna rough it. And so that's what I did. I didn't take any cold medicine. And when I tell you, it was hard. It was hard not to, because I did not feel good at all. And it was a little bit difficult. But like I said, my experience having COVID pregnant was not the best, but it was not the worst. I didn't have to go to the ER. The shortness of breath wasn't as much of an issue. I did have a little bit of a cough, just a little bit, but not much. It was more so just the fatigue and like kind of that drainage feel that was kind of knocking me out. But all I could do was sleep. And like I said, I don't know if that was pregnancy. I really feel like it was twofold. Now, one thing I will say that I'm going to look at everything in a positive light. I'm an optimist. One thing that did help, or not help, but one thing that kind of COVID did do is it allowed me the opportunity to, one, kind of gather myself and be at home during those first, like that week and a half. I think like a week and a half at home when I first found out I was pregnant, because I had COVID. So I was out from the office. So it gave me a minute to adjust to like what my body was doing, how I was feeling. And so I took that as a positive. And even going back to work, I took it really easy because my colleagues knew that I had COVID. And so, just even the amount of work I was doing, what I was doing, I was taking it easy. And even the recovery from that, it did take me a while to recover, like walking from one place to another. It took me a minute. I have to kind of stop and catch my breath a little bit. So just my stamina was not there. Like I said, I think the combination of being pregnant along with that was one thing, but also because I had COVID, nobody had any questions about whether or not I was pregnant. It wasn't really a concern. So I attested my not wanting to drink, my not wanting to eat, my not wanting to go anywhere, which is very unlike me, to COVID and recovering from COVID. And I milked that baby until the end of my first trimester. And people will tell you, my family and friends will be like, you girl, you okay? It's been about 3 weeks. I'm like, I know, it's just, I'm not there yet. I need a minute. So I milked that the rest of, the first trimester, because and it really did take me a minute to get back to my normal self. But having that as a component, and because everybody did not know I was pregnant yet, it worked for me.